Welcome to the 12-Step TDS Club. This edition is entitled How to Draw a Demon. How to draw a demon. What does it look like when a human being, in specific, a certain man is possessed by the devil? And I think I have a really good example of that. I think TDS is a form of demonic possession. That's the only thing I can figure out. How could normally reasonable people like this fella right here be so enraged, so sick? I actually, from a spiritual standpoint, I feel sorry for this guy. His name is James Carville. He's actually, from my understanding, he's a brilliant political strategist.
I'm going to be throwing stuff, and we'll be seeing everything that you can. So Friday night, Bill Maher, who I like, and by the way, who I think should have gotten the Mark Twain Prize easily. I think Bill is clearly one of the most influential comedians. I'd say a little bit more than social commentators of this century. But he took issue with me, and so, and be honest, and I'm sure he expected this, and we'll take issue back. His critique was, as I would go online, like some crazy old man, foaming at the mouth, Trump derangement syndrome, and that he was wise enough and mature enough to not have Trump derangement syndrome. And then he showed pictures of average Americans, I don't know, Uber driving, delivering furniture, or things that people do, and that only 1% of the country watch Fox, MS Now, CNN, or whatever, and that I was basically some old crazed crank out there who didn't appreciate hard work by other people. Well, Bill, I'm going to tell you this, but I'm 81. I'm not likely to be able to move furniture for a living, but you know what? Given another year Trump in there in this market and the price of gas, I might be back to trying to move furniture to make a living, but hopefully it doesn't happen there. But the argument is basically myself and people like me are crazy. We're just blind rage, crazy. We can't stand Trump. We can't see anything. We've lost all context, all everything. Okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to agree with you. I'm crazy. Yeah, I hate it. Man, a lot of people like me, we're crazy.
Yeah, this guy, at least he's honest. He's admitting that he has Trump derangement syndrome. He even takes pride in it. I heard one video where he was praying to God, God, please make me more angry. But I don't think he was praying to the God of the Bible. He wasn't praying to Jesus. I think he was praying to Lucifer, Satan. Something evil has taken over our country, our culture. It goes way beyond politics, in my opinion. There's all kinds of hints in the Bible. The Bible, in the end times, it keeps talking about a trumpet. I mean, how strange is that? I got the hat too big there, but... So let's listen some more to this guy.
And I was thinking back a long time ago, but I think it's still a kind of relevant book, a book called Catch-22. And I'm not a literature scholar or anything like that, but is that...
Oh, I love Catch-22. I'm not a big reader, but that is one funny book. Man, is it funny. Comic novel, I think is what it's called.
recall the protagonist, is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know who it was. But anyway, a guy named Usarian was in war, and he didn't like anyone to get out, so he claimed that the war made him crazy. And I think it went something like this. The psychiatrist says, no, the fact that you are crazy means that you are sane. If you are in a situation like this and you are actually sane, it would mean you're crazy. So what I'm doing for myself, and people like me, and you know who you are, we wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning throwing shit against the wall. I can't believe this motherfucker is the president of the United States. He's ruining the country. He's ruining everything we had. We do that. And we are crazy. And we understand that. But maybe our craziness is evidence of our sanity. Because I got to tell you, I have no intention of ever.
Man, this guy is insane. He's taking he's using a comic novel that took place, the setting is war. The guy who wrote the novel was in a war. I was in the military. I was never in combat. But I saw some stuff. That is a lot different than some guy getting elected that you just don't like. He just doesn't like Trump. The strangest thing of all is that Trump's policies are almost identical to what the Democrats' policies were 10 years ago. The Democrats didn't want mass migration, because it hurt the working people. They used to care about the working people.
Changing my mind. And I do believe in history, and I believe that there are times, and I think this is maybe one of the grave crises that the United States has ever faced. Look at our deficit, look at our relationship around the world, look at the massive corruption that's going on. Yes, this is a very, very goddamn dark time in America. And what was prompting me to do that is I'm not sure Trump is a human being. Allow me to make my case, Bill. A human, yes, he does. He has limbs, he has all of this, and fine. But a human being has a reaction. We all have done that. We had somebody, a friend, whose mother died, and we try to say something, and it never kind of comes out right, but you try to raise. I remember when my daddy died, it was a huge event in Baton Rouge, and we were my mother, sitting next to my mother in the funeral home, and the guy comes up and says, "Oh, Miss Carville, I feel so bad. Same thing happened to my best friend a week ago." And my mother said, "Oh, that's terrible. What was his name?" And the guy froze. He said, "I can't think of it." Okay, we just started laughing because he was trying to be nice. That's what human beings do. Now when Rob and Michelle were killed, and I assume Rob was a friend of yours, was a friend of everybody else's. I know he had to be a friend of yours. And Trump said he didn't support me. Basically, I'm glad he's dead. Okay, that didn't move you. Your governor, Gavin Newsom, who spoke glowingly about his being dyslexic, and I want to apologize to people. I said I have dyslexia, and correctly people pointed out is, James, you don't have dyslexia, you're dyslexic. So I want to clear that little proper English thing up here. And basically, Trump attacked dyslexic people. That didn't move you because you're so moral and so just and so wise and so all-seeing. And then the day after you did this, as if the thunderbolt from heaven comes down, Robert Mueller dies, and Trump says, "I'm glad." Will you be stuck with being sane about this? Because I tell you what, I'm going to be goddamn insane. I'm going to be rip shit. I'm going to be throwing stuff. We'll be seeing everything that you can.
I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Holy Spirit. And when somebody takes the Lord's name in vain, man, I find that very offensive. But see, he doesn't find that offensive. But he can say, well, Donald Trump is terrible because He said he was glad that Robert Mueller died. Well, I like what Scott Bessent said. He said, I can't judge Donald Trump because the FBI went through, they raided his home. They didn't really have a reason. They just raided his home. The judge ended up throwing the case out of court because it was so ridiculous. And to humiliate him, I guess, they went through his wife's wardrobe. And so Scott Bessent said, I can't judge anybody who went through something like that. That's kind of how I look at it. I'm a Christian. I want to be like Jesus. Jesus says we have to love our enemies. I have to try and practice love towards James Carville. But I don't see how he thinks that he's any better than Trump. The way that he talks, James Carville is far, far more vulgar and despicable than Donald Trump. I just don't get it. He's vicious. What James Carville wants to do, if the Democrats win, he wants to take people like me who supported Trump, and I think he said something like he wants to put us into orange jumpsuits and walk us down the street and spit on us, that type of thing. And this is a guy who criticizes Donald Trump. He can't be criticizing him for his policies because Trump's policies, like I say, they match what the Democrats wanted back when James Carville was in the White House with Bill Clinton. Same policies. So it's got to be a personality thing, but I think it goes far, far deeper than that. This man, in my opinion, is possessed by a demon.
Sheer rage. And I want all of you people that are like me, that have this almost uncontrollable rage, this seething, this hatred, to understand that together we're going to stand. We know what this country was. We know what this country can be. We know what this country is today, and we hate every goddamn moment of it. We're not going to change. We're going to be the same. We're fixing our visions. You can mock us. You can make fun of us. You can pity us. But what we're not going to do, we're not going to change our fucking minds. And we're not going to back off, not one iota. And so I understand where you're coming from. I consider you a friend. I've been on your show a bunch of times. I think you're basically a compelling, gracious man. But do me a favor, Bill. Try to get your head out of Barry Weiss's ass and give us the real time that we grew to know and love. Thank you very much.
Well, this is my interpretation of that video. I don't know if this is Satan, but I know he's actually proud of having TDS, of being so full of hatred. Strange. Thanks for watching.